name is Kathleen Rowell.
And what's your position in the church?
I'm on the worship team, but the worship team also includes picking out the music and doing the bulletins. My main focus is, why are you laughing? My main focus is setting the altar, and I do receptions too.
The mission of High Country United Church of Christ is to inspire positive change in our world as we are led by Christ's example of love, compassion, and acceptance of all people.
Our church is very open-minded, and so we focus more on the life and the teachings of Christ than the death of him. So as you see, as you helped me decorate for Easter, we love to celebrate the rebirth and his resurrection, but we don't focus on his death, and that's what the cross symbolizes to us. The art of the church. We have a lot of artists in our church, and artists I would consider musicians, painters, people who do flower gardens. We have a lot of different art that has been done for the church that we change this back wall quite frequently, and it's always original art from people in our church. We usually try to make it fit with the theme of the sermon. All kinds, not country, but not deeply religious ones, but usually things from the hymnal, or they'll sing any Beatles songs. We have a lot of Beatles, John Denver. I mean, it's whatever strikes them. And we do the music tries to go with the theme of what the sermon is that Sunday too. They're never the same. We don't even arrange the chairs the same every Sunday. So there's not really a typical service. It's not like some of the faiths that have the exact things in the same place every Sunday. We always have music because we are very blessed with a lot of amazing musicians. So we have a lot of music. Okay, the words. Years ago, our church was in a storefront, and we had to make it into a church. So one Sunday, we asked people to just write down what they felt like the church meant to them and what they wanted to get out of the church. I thought at the time that we would get love, peace, hope. We got 70 different words in one Sunday. So these words don't all mean something to me. They mean something to someone, though, who put that in the collection plate that Sunday.
Up on the mountain, I ain't coming down in shade.
Oh, my favorite word. You know what? That would depend on the Sunday. It's kind of like asking me what my favorite song is. Depends on who's home. That's who's my favorite. I don't think I could. Maybe imagination. There's too many. I couldn't pick one. Ooh, now you're asking a long question. When I came from the Baptist tradition, and when we came to this church, it was very open and accepting, and we have a lot of gays and lesbians in the church. And it was so freeing to me to all of a sudden, you don't judge them, they're just your friends. You only judge them on how they treat you. And so it was a very freeing time for me to join this church and understand that you can love everybody, and there's us not need to be labels. It's a very free and open-minded. A lot of churches will say they will accept anybody, but this church really does. I mean, there are no labels here, and I mean, I have made some of the best friends, and it doesn't matter what their sexuality is, or where they're from, or what color or race they are, or how long they're even going to be here. We have college students that come and go, and it doesn't matter.
And keep my eyes above the waves. When oceans rise, my soul will rest in you.
I specifically do altar because it's a creative outlet for me. And I'm a color person. I like lots of color. So it's very hard for me to do Lent when it has to be very drab colors, because I think people are going to think this looks horrible because there's no color. But I do try to follow the seasons of the church. But it's a very creative outlet for me to be able to do it.
Surrounds in deepest waters.
You know, I would need to get the list to tell you exactly, but there is a season that starts with Easter where we can use greens and colors. You only use red on the altar during Pentecost. Like I said, Lent is very drab. Purple usually only goes up around Christmas and Easter because that's the royal color.
So I will call upon you.
When we very first started the church, we asked people, what do you want and what do you not want in this church? One of the things they did not want was pews, because they didn't want people always sitting in straight lines and, you know, having their specific places. And one of the things was they wanted nature incorporated. If we could have a whole wall of windows looking out over a view, we would. We were not fortunate to have that. So we've brought nature in. You see we have lots of plants and trees in here. We've painted the foyer with mountains, and so we've tried to bring as much nature in as we can. And sometimes if it's a pretty Sunday, we'll take the chairs out and we'll have our service outside.
For our project, Tamara and Kathleen asked us to decorate the altar and sanctuary for Easter Sunday. We hung butterflies and decorated with plants as symbols of life. We put tablecloths on the altar along with curtains and stained glass on the wall behind the altar. The colors are a strong representation of Easter and new beginnings.
Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders. Let me
The major goal of this church is to be accepting of all people. Many people come here to find community. It is a place for new beginnings. There is justice for all. Doubts are welcome, and you can come as you are.
And my faith will be made stronger in the presence of my Savior. Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders. Let me walk upon the waters wherever you would call me. Take me deeper than my feet could ever wander, and my faith will be made strong